Hi everyone, and thank you for listening to a new episode of Start Inspired. I'm your host, Samantha March. So in this week's episode, I am excited to do a Q&A. So I asked on my Instagram, which is by Samantha March, I asked to send in any questions that you have for me, so I'm going to answer them. I do a Q&A typically every season of my podcast, and I usually do it either halfway through or towards the end. And I decided to do it around the halfway mark of, what are we in, season 5 now? So I'm planning to have about 20 episodes for season 5, and this will be episode 12, I believe. So just over the halfway point. So that is what we are going to be jumping into today. I'm gonna head over to my Instagram and see what questions you have for me. Before we jump in, I of course wanna say thank you for listening, or if you are watching the YouTube video, I do put these up on my second channel, which is by Samantha March. So if you are watching, I hope that you will subscribe or also leave a comment if there's any other episodes that you would like to see from me or hear me talk about, or if you have any other questions that I don't answer, you can always leave those in the comments. Or if you are listening on like Spotify or Apple, anything like that, you can always rate and review. Or like I always say, if you want to screenshot and share on social media, be sure to tag me so I can repost and know that you are loving the podcast. So that is everything to share in the beginning. So like I said, we're about halfway through season 5. I am planning to do just a short hiatus between season 5 and 6. I will not be gone for 2 years like I was in between seasons 4 and 5 when I was moving and had a lot going on in life. So I will not be gone as long, but I just do like a little refresh and then just try to plan out the next season. And I'm trying to decide if I want to bring on guests for season 6 and have every episode be a different guest. So working on like some planning and scheduling and all of that, or if I want to do it again just solo. So just trying to decide how I want to do that. But let me hop into some of these questions. So one question is how to overcome hormonal issues and fight for a doctor to listen and get results. That's a great question. How to overcome hormonal issues. I'll start there. How to overcome hormonal issues. So one thing that I will say about this is I don't feel like you can actually start to fight your hormonal issues or make changes until you actually know what's going on. And for me, that was getting a full hormone panel, so my labs done. And this is something I talk about in a lot of podcast episodes. This is something that I talk about when it comes to healthy habits and your daily routines. It's something I talk about when it comes to finances and wanting to change your financial outlook, is you can't actually make any changes until you do your tracking and you understand what exactly it is that you're working with. What are your habits that you already incorporate? What are your daily routines like? Okay, great. Now you know that. Now, how do you make changes with your finances? You have to track everything. You have to understand how much money you're bringing in, how much money you're putting out, what you actually need to spend money on, you know, your necessities, what is kind of like your fun money that you're spending. Then you can go ahead and make changes. The same comes with hormonal issues. I think there's a lot of symptoms or a lot of things that we can kind of get an idea that our body is telling us, right? Like for me, like, you know, hormonal acne was one of those things where it's like, well, clearly I have some sort of hormonal imbalance going on here. You know, I had the cystic acne all along, you know, my jawline, around my mouth, my chin. One sign of hormonal acne too was having like one side of your face like have a lot of really bad breakouts, and then like the next month it would be like the other side of my face, like different things like that, that I was like, okay, this is my body telling me I obviously have some sort of imbalance, right? But what is it? You know, what is it? So when I was first kind of dealing with my own hormonal issues, one of the most important things that I got done was a full set of labs. I will say I could not find a Western medicine doctor to order me said labs. Primary care, OBGYN, internal medicine, I got turned away every single appointment. I got told it was because I'm a woman in my 30s. I got told I was probably just stressed. I got told this is just what happens as I get older. I got told to just work out and watch what I eat. I mean, I felt like I couldn't get taken seriously at any doctor's appointment, and it was very frustrating. So the doctor that I started working with was a naturopathic doctor. So I hear like naturopathic doctor, functional medicine, integrative medicine. And a lot of these doctors, from what I have experienced with my own journey and also what I've heard from others, is that they are really trying to get to the root cause. Like, they don't want to just hear like, you have hormonal acne, so go on birth control. They want to understand, why do you have hormonal acne? What is your imbalance? What do your labs look like? And that sort of thing. And that's something, when I started working with my naturopathic doctor, she wanted to go all the way back through my medical history. She wanted to know like my health before I got my period. How old was I when I got my first period? What were they like? Flash forward a few years later, what were they like? What were the times that I was on birth control? We went through so much. And I will also say that my dog was recently diagnosed with cancer, and I am working with an oncologist. She's in chemotherapy, she's on medications, but I also decided that I wanted to work with what's called a holistic vet as well, and someone who practices more traditional Chinese medicine. And when I have our first appointment with this holistic vet, she did the same thing. She wanted to know everything about Aries and what came before, and like what was the first time we had to take her to the vet for like a health crisis, all of the different times that she'd either been sick or in surgery. I mean, she wanted the full scope, and not just right now, not just what Aries is dealing with right now and what are her symptoms and how she's battling cancer. She wanted to know everything. And that's something that I found really interesting, because that's not something that I get a lot from a Western medicine doctor. And again, it's not that I'm saying like, don't, like, I just went to my OBGYN last month, I still recommend that. And for me, I found that I personally like to have a balance between the two. And I feel like that works out really well for me, and is also working out really well for my dog. So if you are having troubles getting someone to listen to you, I would say don't give up and keep searching and keep asking around and doing some Googling and seeing what you can find out there. For me, it was just word of mouth. I was telling my friends how sick I was and I wasn't being able to get any help from the doctors, and my friend recommended his own naturopathic doctor. That is how I found mine. So that is something that I would recommend, because it is hard. One thing I would recommend too, when I went to my OBGYN this last time, I went to someone I hadn't seen before. I'm new to the city that I live in. I've only been here for 2 years. When I had my pap smear appointment last year, I really didn't like who I saw. I felt like she wasn't listening to me. I was, saying that I have X, Y, and Z problems, and it was just, I got told to go back on birth control, all that. And I was just unhappy with it. So I had a new doctor that I went to this time. And obviously I really wanted, my pap smear, my breast checked and, all those things. But I also really wanted her to order me these labs that my naturopathic doctor did, because I did them last June. So I wanted to get a yearly update. And this is something I want to do every single year now. I want to get a yearly update of what my lab work looks like. And I've really put a lot of work in this last year of trying to lower my stress levels and sleep better. I've made huge changes with my diet, really adding in more vegetables, more protein, cutting back on refined sugar, cutting out caffeine, cutting way back on alcohol, all those things. Like, I tried to make a lot of changes, and I was really curious to see, did they make any change in my labs? And one thing that I would recommend that I did was I knew going into the appointment what I wanted to ask for. And a reason why I wanted to ask my OBGYN if she would order me these labs is because then my insurance would cover them. Health insurance does not cover basically anything under naturopathic care. So even though my naturopathic doctor was ordering me the labs, then I took that lab slip to the exact same place that my OBGYN ordered the labs from. It's Quest Diagnostics. Like, it's the same place. You get your blood drawn the same. Everything is the same. But because my ordering physician was a naturopathic doctor, insurance said, no, 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 we don't cover that. Whereas if I could have my OBGYN do it, insurance would pay for it. And it's been a very costly, just straight up, like, it's been very costly to do it without health insurance and then also be paying for health insurance at the same time. So that's been really fun. But I went in already knowing what I wanted. I had a list of the labs that I wanted to be drawn. I mean, it might sound silly, but I was practicing what I wanted to say to her. These are my problems. These are what I struggled with. This is the doctor I worked with. This is what we found out. This is how we move forward. These are the labs that I want. And I really just wanted to leave no room for anything because this is my body. It's not theirs. They can give me suggestions, and I will say, it sounds really sad, but she was a great doctor. I had a really good experience. She listened to me when I said certain things that I wanted. She was like, oh, I think we should also add on this lab. And I was like, yep, that was on my list too. You know, I was just kind of like going down my list, and I left the appointment and I texted my girlfriends and was like, I didn't have to fight my doctor. She's ordering the labs that I wanted. Like, yay, that's so awesome. And then I get back to my car and I'm like, how sad is that? That I just was celebrating the fact that a doctor listened to me and agreed to do what I wanted so I could learn more about my body. That's pretty sad. But I will say, again, if you are working with a doctor, to go in with some sort of knowledge. If you think you have something going on, maybe it's, you know, another thing that I struggled with is PCOS, looking up labs for PCOS. There are so many people online that share this information and that say, like, these are the best tests, you know, to be able to look for. Find that information. I just had a list on my phone. I pulled my phone over to me and I was like, this is what I want. So that is one of the biggest things that I would recommend. So I did a full hormone panel. I also did a stool test, which that was disgusting. I didn't enjoy doing it at all, but that is how I found I had so much inflammation in my gut, was because of a stool test. And then I also did a food sensitivity test, which is where I was able to figure out that I have high sensitivities to coffee and also garlic. Who knew? But those were the 3 things that I did. But again, if you are struggling with a doctor, you don't have to stay with your doctor. You can keep going and trying to find someone else that will actually listen to you, but also do your part and be armed with as much information and what you want going into that appointment, so you can tell them straight out. You can tell them exactly what you want. Another question is, what keeps you going when life gets tough? Oh, that's a hard question. You know, what keeps me going when life gets tough is definitely my dog. She's laying on the floor next to me. You know, this will probably be hard for me to talk about, but I'll do my best. My dog is definitely my best friend. We've been through a lot together. She's been by my side for 9 years. You know, she's been with me through some of my hardest mental health battles, through infertility, through divorce, through my move. And, you know, some days where I just don't even feel like getting out of bed, she's right there. And even now, as I start to get emotional, she immediately comes over to check on me. So she's the best. I'm feeling a lot of emotions because she has her 3rd chemo appointment tomorrow. So tomorrow's going to be a big day at the time that I'm filming. Tomorrow's definitely going to be a big day. So we'll see how everything goes, but you know, definitely my dog. But I will say a few other things. I've been able to form like really great friendships, and you know, my friends are really important to me. My family's really important to me, but I also very genuinely love my career. I love what I do. I'm a full-time entrepreneur. I'm a full-time content creator. I'm an author. I own my own business, and because my everyday looks different, I just tend to get excited. And because I get to create all day, I get to create this type of content for the podcast. I get to create YouTube videos. I get to create TikToks and make these like interesting short form videos. And it's it's always different and there's always something to learn, and it's always exciting to me. I get to put, you know, pen to paper or words on my Word document and create these characters' lives. That really keeps me motivated, and I'm just really happy that I stuck with this career. You know, I started in 2009. Before being an influencer, I don't even think that was a term. I mean, we were just bloggers. But I'm really happy that I stuck with this career because it brings me so much joy, and I love to be able to connect with people and talk to everyone and see the comments, see the messages that come in. It means a lot. So those are just a few things that keep me going. Another question is, how are you and Aries? You know, we're doing okay. We're doing okay. Aries has had a really good couple of weeks. She's had good energy. She's been eating well. She's been sleeping well. So of course that like helps me be able to kind of stick with my own routine and habits. But yeah, she has her 3rd chemo appointment tomorrow, and that's kind of her halfway point because she'll have 6 chemo appointments total. So at the 3rd one, they are going to like measure the tumor so we can kind of get an idea of, is it shrinking, is it growing, is there no change? So I'm feeling a little anxious about that appointment because I just, you know, I think it's going to be nice to get an update. I hope that it's a good one. But I also know, like, the term that I've heard a lot is guarded prognosis. So I just, you know, prepare myself for that. But we've been good. We found a new park that we really love, and we've been going on hikes there basically every single night, and we've been having so much fun, and it's really beautiful. At a certain point, it overlooks the whole Las Vegas Strip, and when we go at night and the lights are on, I love the city so much, so I think it's so cool to look at. So we've been having a lot of fun there. Another question is, are you excited about any future plans? Yeah, I am excited. You know, this year I launched a new kind of, I guess what we would call side hustle with my partner Simpri. We started, I mean, honestly, I don't even know if I want to say business, but we started out as, we should plan like a fun girls trip for other content creators where we all come together and we just go away for a few days and have fun and maybe create some content. And then people seemed excited about it, so we thought maybe we can try to involve some brands and make it even like bigger and better and a special experience. And then we had the first one in Charleston in May of this year, and it went off so well and everyone seemed to love it so much. It's kind of like a brand trip, but without like a single brand being there. It's more focused on the creators and their connection and the community amongst them. And then we just have like a couple of brands there, and no creators had any like posting requirements or anything like that, but everyone enjoyed it so much we thought, let's do it again. So we are going to New Orleans in 2024, and then we are also going to Palm Springs in 2024 as well. So we have 2 trips that we're planning, and we're also hosting a holiday party. So I am so excited about all of these, and it really does give a lot to look forward to. Like today, most of my day today has been either in meetings or just on the phone with my partner or emailing about all of the different events that we have coming up. And it really gives me a lot to look forward to. My tagline for the longest time has been community over competition, and that's kind of what these trips signify as well, is bringing together a part of the community. And you know, we see brand trips a lot and we see how exciting they are, but we also kind of see like the same people getting these opportunities. You know, brands obviously want to work with the same partners that they love and form connections with over the years, but we just wanted to do something a little bit different. And again, that's less focused on one brand and like one product, and more focused on the creators and their time together, and then also having a few brand sponsors so we can, you know, pay for things, because me and my partner can't really pay out of pocket for 20 plus creators to go on trips. Wish we could. That would be great. That would be awesome. But it's really nice to work with brands as well, and hopefully we can just keep making this like a bigger and better thing and just keep it going. So that definitely gives me a lot to look forward to in what I think is probably going to be a pretty challenging year. So at least I have that, and I would love to get more into like event planning as well and do some Vegas retreats for my community also, because again, I just have such a love for the city, and I think it would be fun to add in some traveling also. This next question is advice for networking for someone who is entering a new field or industry. That is a great question. Advice for networking for someone who is entering a new field or industry. So I think networking, to me personally, can be very overwhelming. I'm definitely more of an introvert, and I'm definitely more of a shy girl. So just going up to someone, I have a hard time doing. I'm going to an event next month that's like, I'm literally going there to network with brands on behalf of creators and friends, and I'm already like sweating thinking about it. Like, how do I just like go up and like introduce myself? And I even think about the first few times I went to like a Generation Beauty or like an Ipsy event, and I was so terrified. I was like, I don't understand. I just like go up to another creator and I'm like, hi, I watch you on YouTube. Like, the thought of it, just like once I get to know someone and I know, then I can talk your ear off, but just putting yourself out there can be so daunting. So when I think about networking, especially in today's day of age, I think of like utilizing social media. This I think would be a great question, because I don't know if I'm going to have the best advice personally, but if anyone else has any other great advice, you could always leave it in the comment section. I think that would be awesome. And it makes me, if you guys followed me on my main channel, I've been thinking about bringing the Inspired Squad series over to the podcast. That was a series that I did where we would all kind of like communicate via Google form. I would have people write in, I would read the responses, and I had so many people say it would make for a great podcast, so I'm thinking about incorporating that. So if you like that series on my main channel, let me know, because I could definitely bring it into the podcast for sure. But I do think about social media, and whether it be, I know a lot of people use LinkedIn. Again, I probably should at some point, but I know a lot of people use LinkedIn to like connect with other people in their industries. I think a lot about like Facebook groups. When I was getting into the book industry, that was how I met a lot of people, was through these Facebook groups. And then like I created my own where we kind of talk about like makeup, and we have other discussions and prompts that we talk about on different days. And I see a lot of other people that join Facebook groups specifically for like makeup looks or for book recommendations or different things like that. There's always a lot out there also. So just different ways like that. I think about how to use social media when it comes to networking. And I guess I'm not exactly sure like what industry it is or like what field it is, or if it's something that you would do more face-to-face. But if it is more face-to-face, I mean, I try to think about the advice that I would give myself when I was going to these conferences in the past. For me, I would try to find someone that I already knew that was going and kind of tag along with them. Or if I didn't know anyone else that was going, it really was kind of that like fake it till you make it mentality, and just like trying to get over your fear and remembering that probably a lot of other people are very nervous or maybe don't know everybody. And, you know, at a certain point at certain events, like you just know everyone's kind of awkward. I've really been trying to do more networking and more socializing in Las Vegas. And there's so many times I'm still not the best at it. Like I had an event that I said that I would go to on Sunday, and I didn't go because I was like, I'm just going to be too uncomfortable. And I'm like, dang it, Samantha, like, you know, I'm trying. I don't do it all the time. I don't back out last minute all the time, but sometimes I still do if I get really anxious about going to places alone. But I really do try to remember that a lot of people are probably nervous as well. So again, I don't know if that's the best advice, because that's not an area that I'm the best in, but it's what I got for you. I'm just gonna do a couple more questions because I'm actually against the clock and I have another dinner tonight that I'm not backing out of. But this next one is, have you found a way to not feel guilty about getting things done? Like cleaning, for example. I struggle. No, not really. Have I found a way to not feel guilty about getting things done? No. And sometimes I feel super frustrated because I'm not the best at keeping up with like clutter and like organized, and I just like don't know how to do it. I don't understand. Like sometimes I look at my friends' apartments that like we live in the same complex, and I go to their place and I'm like, where are you putting all your stuff? Where is all your stuff? Like I walk in and their countertops are clean and they have nothing. I mean, like my countertops are always full of things. I have boxes everywhere. I have products everywhere. And I just walk in, I'm like, I don't understand where you keep things. Like, do you hide them in a closet? Like are they shoved under your bed? Like, I don't know. I have just not figured out a way to be this clean and organized person, and I beat myself up for it all the time. I wish that I didn't, but if I'm just being honest, like, I beat myself up for it so much, and I also let it hold me back from things. I hate having people over. Absolutely despise it. Like, if anyone is like, oh, I'll just like drop over, I'm like, no, don't do that. Again, when I had like the holistic vet come over for Aries, I totally spaced that they were actually coming to the apartment instead of us going to them. And I realized it like the day before, and I was running around like crazy, like trying to clean. I'm like, these people are going to judge me so much. And I also don't even like filming. Like, the videos that I do on this channel that are more vlog style, I don't like doing them because my kitchen is so cluttered, and you just see like boxes and packages and products everywhere. And then I look at other people's videos and they're so aesthetic and their kitchen is so clean, and then they're just like cleaning it again for fun. I'm like, what? Like, I wish I had that in me. And it's why I started reading the book Atomic Habits, which I'm hoping to get back into. I am currently reading books focused on dog cancer just because that's what's going on in my life, and I just want to be, you know, trying to keep myself educated and in the know and get tips, and also just get help, you know, for my mental health, just get help. But I am hoping to jump back into books like that I'm hoping will help me like snap something in me to help me figure it out. But if I'm being honest, I still feel a lot of guilt about it. I still feel guilt about not getting things done. I still feel guilt when I have a huge to-do list and I haven't gotten it finished. So it's hard. It's just sometimes we feel like we are supposed to be able to do everything, and when we can't, it's like, ugh. Okay, the last question I'm going to get to before I have to change and get on my way is, how do you live in a city that isn't close to family? So to me, it's kind of what I've known for a long time. So I guess I don't really think twice about it. So I currently live in Las Vegas. I have some family that lives in Iowa, and I also have some family that lives in Alabama. And when I guess I should also say that I just have my mom, and so my mom's side of the family, so a little bit, you know, smaller of a family. And my sister is 8 years older than me, and she actually got married when she was 18, so I was 10 years old. And she married into the military. So she immediately moved from Iowa and started traveling around with her husband, and then they started having kids, and they've moved quite a bit over my entire young life, teen life, adult life. My sister and her family have always been somewhere else. I would visit them a lot. You know, one summer I spent like the whole summer in North Carolina, or I always go visit them to where they are, but they've never like been down the road from me. So that was something I was kind of used to. And then also after I graduated high school, my mom actually moved with them and started traveling around with my sister and her family because her husband was deployed multiple times. They had several kids at this point, and you know, obviously it's just nice to have some help when your husband is gone for those very long extended periods of time. So when I was 18, I went off to college, and I really didn't have a lot of family that was close to me. I do have a little brother, but we didn't have a very strong relationship for a few years because of some abuse that happened within our family, and I was separated from my brother for a little bit. We didn't reconnect until around the time I was 18, 19 years old, and I'm so thankful we did. He's one of my best friends. You know, he walked me down the aisle at my wedding. He's coming to Las Vegas soon, and I'm so excited to see him. So I just have always kind of been used to not having families super close to me, and it makes me very sad, you know, especially when I got married. My ex-husband was so close with his family, and they were all really close by. And then even at the time that we got divorced, we had moved back to his hometown, so literally we could walk to his sister's house. His brother lived like right there. We could like throw a stone at his brother's house. We could walk to his parents' house. There was aunts and uncles and cousins everywhere. The nieces and nephews were all there, and I thought that was so beautiful. I thought that was such a nice thing, and I was honestly like kind of jealous that he had that. But on the flip side, I know that it also made me appreciate my family so much more, and appreciate all of the work that we put into seeing each other. We don't take holidays for granted because we don't get to see each other every holiday. And it's why I always try to make sure I'm usually always late, but I always send my niece and nephews. I have 1 niece and 3 nephews. I always try to send them, or I always do send them birthday cards, you know, if they have something special going on, like graduations. If I can't be there, I'm always sending something or texting them just to let them know, you know, congratulations, or you got a job, or you moved out on your own, or whatever it may be. And it makes us work really hard at communication, and I think that's what's really special. So I guess it's just kind of been what I've been used to for so long. So it's, as an adult, it's not really hard for me to be away from my family. But on the flip side, it is also hard, especially when you're going through hard things and you just wish your family was close by. Aries was first diagnosed with cancer. My mom and my aunt came out and stayed with me for a week, and that was really, really special to me and, you know, really helpful to me. So it's like kind of twofold. It's like not hard because it's what I'm used to, but then it's hard at times. But then I can also appreciate everything that we do for each other and our strong bonds, even though we are kind of all spread out. We still are really connected and have these strong bonds with each other. So I'm very grateful for that at the same time. But that is where I'm going to wrap it up. I have 15 minutes to finish off my makeup and change and head down to get some dinner tonight, which I am so excited about. I'm going to an influencer event as well at a restaurant that's opening soon in Las Vegas, to get a little like sneak peek of what it's going to be like. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. But thank you to everyone who sent in a question. If I didn't get to your question, or if you have another one that pops up, you can always leave it in the comments and I will get to it there. And yeah, again, we're about halfway through season 5. I hope that you've been enjoying this season of Start Inspired. And as always, thank you so much for listening, and I'll chat with you next week.